So all of these events happened around 3 years ago at my in-laws' house. They still live in this house, but I'm no longer living with them. The house is nothing out of the ordinary, just in a little neighborhood in Mesquite, Texas. We never thought nothing of it. You go in, it's a weird layout. You go straight to the living room, then you got the dining room, and then there's a staircase that goes horizontal up to the upstairs bedrooms. There's only 2 of them up there where my sister-in-laws stay. And where I was staying was a room that used to be a garage. And so that was back towards the back of the house. Where it first started, my sister-in-laws, they were just complaining that they felt, or they would hear that someone was home. And during the day, my mother-in-laws, both of them, they work really early hours. So they're never home they leave around 3 a.m. and they don't get back home till 4 in the afternoon. So they're gone, I'm gone. We all work really early hours. And so the sisters were only there. This is during school break. And they would just tell us we hear someone walking around the house. And everyone is just okay, that's weird. No one's home. Everyone tells each other, I was here, I was there, I wasn't at the house. And no one paid any attention to it. We're just whatever, you're seeing things or you're hearing things. And my sister-in-laws, they're the type of people who don't really believe in that. And they're very to themselves. They're not very talkative or anything. They don't joke around with us. They just stay in their room and then that's it. So for them to come to us with the concern saying that they're seeing the lights flicker or they're hearing footsteps going up and down the stairs is very weird. So a couple weeks passed after that. And again, they said that they were in their rooms around noon and they could see under the door a shadow of somebody just pacing back and forth under the door sill. And they were all in one room, all 3 of them. And they know nobody's home. So they stay quiet, they view it just walking back and forth, and they see the hallway light upstairs just go on and then it'll go off. And they would just wait there till someone came home, or they would call somebody, be like, hey, I need you to get home now. We think someone's in the house. So they didn't think paranormal initially. They thought someone had broken in. So of course, we all get there as fast as we can, and we find nobody. Not gonna lie, you're just seeing things. We're the type of people where we gotta see it to believe it, and we didn't think much of it. You guys are probably just seeing something. So fast forward a couple months, nothing happened until this one night. And this is now happening to my mother-in-law. This happened late at night, so it's super dark in the house. She just got up in the middle of the night, go get a drink of water. When you walk out of the master bedroom, it's a hallway and you see straight into the staircase. And the staircase isn't facing them, it's perpendicular. So you just see the steps going up as soon as you walk out. They're very energy conservative, they just use their flash on their flashlight to walk out. So that's all she was using to walk into the dark house. And she said at the corner of her eye on the staircase, a pair of just legs just standing there. And she didn't look much. She was just oh my God, Natalie, you scared me. Natalie is the name of one of my sister-in-laws. She's the most palest one, so she thought it was just her just standing on the staircase in the middle of the night, just with no light. She's like, why would you do that? You scared me, you know. But she didn't look up at her or her face or nothing. She just saw the legs. So she kept on walking, got her water, and came back to the room, and the figure was gone. She didn't see anything else. And she went to the room and talked to her wife, and she was like, man, Natalie scared me. Like, she was just standing in the dark. Why would she do that? And her wife was like, what are you talking about? Like, just the girls are gone. They're at a sleepover. It's just us here. And that's when she said that she froze and was just like, I know what I saw. I saw someone standing there, and you're telling me nobody's here? A physical apparition, you would say. And all she saw was a pale, barefoot, everything just standing there in complete darkness. And that's when they got really freaked out. So the next day, they told everybody what she saw, the experience. And now we're taking it a little bit more serious. Like, okay, now there's 4 people in the house that experienced something. There's something going on. And so now we get some sage and we burn it, maybe cleanse the house a little bit. But it didn't work. Because again, 2 months later, it was my turn.
Slowly, everyone in the house is beginning to discover that an intruder is among them. And Ariel is about to have her experience. Next.
So me and my fiance were sleeping in the room, and we have a couple dogs, and they start barking in the middle of the night. And I'm a light sleeper, and you could turn on the light and I'll wake up. So of course it wakes me up. And I thought it was weird that they were barking in the middle of the night. So I wake my fiance. I'm like, hey, like, they're barking. Can you go shut them up? Like, I'm trying to sleep. And right before he gets up, we hear a little girl's giggle, like right outside our door. And we both freeze, and we look at each other, just as almost we're telling each other, did you just hear that? And that wasn't just me. And we confirm, I heard that. I heard that. So now my heart's pumping. I'm freaking out because I just heard something. And we know everyone's laugh in the house. And no one laughs like that. It sounded straight out of a horror movie clip of a little girl laughing. And we stood there in the silence, in the dark, and nature called. I needed to go to the restroom, but I did not want to go out there, but I had to. So I got my courage, got my phone, got my flashlight, and decided, I'm gonna do it. I need to go. And when I opened the door from my room, I could see straight into the kitchen. It's right in front of me. And I don't know why, but all of the cabinets in the kitchen were swung wide open. Usually that's not a terrifying sight, but something in me told me, like, that is not right. Why is that like that? And my heart sunk, and just at the sight of it, I ran to the restroom and stayed in there. I had to gather my courage again and come back, ran to the room, and again I glanced real quick at the kitchen, and still all the cabinets were. And so I tell him, hey, like, those cabinets are open, and it just scares me to look at it. I don't, like, who would do that in the house? And we know when someone comes into the kitchen because we can see through the door the light that turns on. The door has see-through panels right down the middle, so we could see straight into it. We just have a curtain that covers it, but we could still see the light illuminating through it. And anytime anyone comes into the kitchen, they turn it on, so we know someone's in there. But nothing like that happened. It stayed pitch black, so we both know we heard something that night. So we tried our best to go to sleep, and we did. And the next morning, we're just like to each other, okay, like we gotta tell everybody once they get back home, like what we experienced, like that was pretty crazy. This is something in this house for sure. And so we're like, okay, and start doing chores. And I'm just in the room, staying in the room, folding my laundry. And my fiance goes outside to clean up outside after the dogs. And I'm just minding my business, and all of a sudden I hear footsteps running towards me. And it's my fiance coming into the room. His face is just pure white and sweating. And he's just, please tell me you called out for me. Did you say my name? And I'm confused. I'm sitting there. No, I didn't call your name. I'm just here folding the clothes. Are you okay? What happened? And he said while he was out there, he heard a female voice whisper his name to him. Carlos. And it was like Carlos, like barely, just very faint, but he heard it. And I'm like, no, I didn't call your name. Are you sure what you heard? And he's like, yes, I know what I heard. I'm freaking out. We have to do something about this. So once all his family comes home that night, we sit down with them again, have a little family meeting. We're like, hey, this is what we experienced. We heard this. We both heard it. And in my fiance's case, he heard it in 2 separate occasions. So we just sit down and agree that we need a professional. We need to get somebody in here, like a medium, and try to get to the bottom of this. Everyone was a skeptic because everyone was like a see it to believe it. I was shock factor. Wow, that's crazy you went through that, but I don't know how I feel about it. I don't really have a stance on it until I experience something. And sure enough, we all had experiences throughout the whole time. It just came after us like one by one, like, yep, not everyone believes. So we left that up to his mom. She actually brought a medium, and he said immediately, he said, this little girl feels like this is her home and that you guys are intruding in her home. And they try to ask questions. Did she live here? Did she die here? What happened? And we couldn't find anything. He couldn't give us an answer. We didn't know it was like a little girl spirit until after my mother-in-law had saw it. Because when my sister-in-laws were upstairs in their room and they saw footsteps and they saw the shadow going back and forth, they said that the footsteps sounded heavy. And they thought it was a man in the house, like going through their things. So why would a little girl spirit be making such loud noises and big thuds? So that's why I always thought this is something trying to portray itself as a little girl, when in reality it was probably something much more than that. So they just continued with the blessing in the house. You know, they lit up some incense, some sage, I think, and he went all around just saying that this is not your home. Stop messing with these people. You need to move on. You need to cross over something. And after he left, nothing. Just, it all stopped. You know, we like to, even now we talk about it. We're just like, yeah, it was weird, like, that we just experienced that. But we still all don't know what we heard or what we saw. It was just so unexplained. But we're just thankful that it stopped after she brought the medium in. The only thing that I could think of that still happens when I visit is you feel eyes on you. You always feel like something is watching. And the dogs, they have 4 dogs there. And they would just play, and then all of a sudden they all just stare at a corner or in the middle of the air. And I would try to stop them, like, hey, what are you looking at? Because it freaks me out, and I don't want to think about that. And what are you looking at? Come on, let's come over here, let's play. And no, they're fixated. And that's the only thing that happens now. Very rare occasions they will growl at nothing. And we don't want to give it attention. But if it's still something lingering, his mother told us, your fear is what feeds it. It's what makes it stronger, it makes it more real. So if you choose to ignore it, to not give it that power, it holds nothing above you. And that's every time we see anything like that or feel like that, it's best to ignore. We don't pay any mind. And it seems like it's working because we've been without any kind of incidents like that since then. I thought this little girl was not a little girl. I don't want to use the word demon, but just something negative that was portraying as a little girl. And I've heard other scary stories where people would experience little girls, but they would do malicious things, and that's how like those evil entities would try to get your compassion and draw you closer by portraying as something innocent when in reality it wasn't. I experienced like little tiny things that I couldn't explain, but nothing as solid as the experience I had in that house. There's no doubt about it. So now it's for sure, I'm not gonna mess with that stuff. Like, it's out there. Honestly, I didn't want to leave this house, but this is like how I truly felt. His mother practiced Santeria, and I've talked to her about it, and she claims this is all good. They still work through God, and I believe her, truly. But at any time I heard about it outside of her, that it was negative. That you were dealing with like Santa Muerte or something. So there's something in me that thought that's what brought it. Point the finger. I didn't want to act like accuse, because that's her religion. I respect that, and I didn't want to make her feel bad or anything. It's just my theory is, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. You gotta be very pure, very good intentions, and you can't mess with it.